Good morning. My name is Abigail Comst. I was invited to play some music and share some stories with you guys before our wonderful service today. So thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. And this first one is called Something Again. Static will start an electrical fire, so automatic that we fall into our old desires. Your eyes linger, I know that look. You say more than I think you should. Totally tragic, we forget we put out that fire. But you're starting something again. You're starting something again. We were just at the end of heartbreaking, but you're starting something again. You moving closer, I'm further from seeing the truth. Reason moves over and I'm sitting right next to you. One right move and our fingers touch. Your same looks making me blush. Lost all composure and I don't know what I should do. But you're starting something again. Yeah, you're starting something again. We were just at the end of heartbreaking, but you're starting something again. All I ask is we don't make the same mistakes, 'cause our love went bad when we refused to change. 'Cause you're starting something again. You're starting something again. We were just at the end of heartbreaking, but you're starting something again. Thank you. We have a little distortion on this channel. I like it. You guys hear that? Are we good? All right. Cool. So this next one, I wrote about a road trip my mom and I took. I'm going to school here. I'm a junior now, which is really crazy. It's gone by so quickly. But my mom and I drove all the way from Las Vegas, my hometown, and drove through Colorado all the way to Nashville, and feel like I've landed in the city that I love. So this is called Before You Arrive. I was 19, we packed all my things, headed out before the sun said hello. We let John Denver sing, then stopped listening to tell stories of how you fell in love. It was a road like this, Dad had the trailer hitched. You read books to him, feet on the dash. At night you pulled aside, pitched a tent without light, woke to a river with a shimmer like glass. Call it chance, or at the miles of making up a plan. Will give you more than a straight shot can. These are the signs that we went the right way. Even if we're showing a plate, you get where you're going if you just drive. But the best of moments are before you arrive. So we drove by a rocky mountain so high, stopped to watch the sky fade from blue. I'd forgotten why we had taken this ride. Every fear disappeared with the view. Precious time of you and I. These are the treasures that aren't on a map. You can't print out adventure like that. Miles of making up a plan will give you more than a straight shot can. These are the signs that we went the right way. Even if we're showing the plate, you get where you're going if you just drive. But the best of moments are before you arrive. Are before you arrive. As the Nashville lights bled into the sky, I knew my dream was over that hill, and that our time would turn into goodbyes and the start of the rest of my life. Before you go, you said, I need you to know these are the treasures that aren't on a map. You can't print out adventure like that. Miles of making up a plan will give you more than a straight shot can. These are the signs that we went the right way. Even if we're showing a plate, you get where you're going if you just drive. But the best of moments are before you arrive. Thank you. Ooh, I see a band arriving in the distance. Okay. I have one more for you guys, and then we'll get the Sunday service started. Okay. This is called Breathe. This has been my go-to centering song. Sometimes I just forget to breathe. There's not enough stillness in the world today. Time moves too quickly. When life's upside down, it doesn't go my way. I can't find the peace, so I close my eyes and turn to the silence, and a voice inside finally chimes in. Won't you take a moment? Take a moment right now. Take a moment and breathe. Just breathe. Breathe. and I see that I'm truly blessed. I will be set free. So I close my eyes and turn to the silence, and a voice inside finally chimes in. Won't you take a moment right now? Take a moment and breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. And in this space I feel divinity within me. I feel light and truth and beauty falling over me. So I close my eyes and turn to the silence, and a voice inside finally chimes in. Won't you take a moment? Take this moment right now. Take a moment and breathe. Just breathe. Breathe. Oh, you know you should breathe right now. Breathe.
Thank you, Abigail. Compst. Thank you. Thank you for the warm-up today. It's beautiful.
Welcome to the Sunday service of CSLN. I'm Candy. I'm one of the practitioners here. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family. The Center for Spiritual Living Nashville offers spiritual tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilled and meaningful life through a deeper connection with a higher power or universal truths. We are open and inclusive. We love to have you here. We love to know that you're watching on YouTube. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe below if you enjoy our programs. Thank you. Now, here's Gregory Fisher.
This beautiful dream carry on for all Good morning. My name is Alan Woodard. I'm a practitioner here at the center. And this morning I'm going to read several excerpts from Ernest Holmes' book, How to Change Your Life, one of my favorite books. I can pick this book up at any time and open a page, and it speaks to me exactly what I need for that particular day. When Jesus spoke of being lifted up from earth, he meant that what is human about you must consciously be united with the divine. In ancient writings, the earth stood for the lowest form of life, while heaven represented the highest. Therefore, being lifted up from the earth means uniting with heaven. This daily lifting up of your thoughts is necessary if you wish to unite yourself and everything you are doing with the divine, so spiritual power flows through you and into all your actions. So, learn to praise yourself for the qualities you want to develop. Be as kind and encouraging to yourself as you would be to anyone else who is trying to improve. Your whole life, thought, body, and emotions will soon respond to the praise you give it, and you will really develop the good qualities you desire. So in this book, as with others, Ernest Holmes provides complementary treatments. And the one that spoke to me this morning was the one that has to deal with high consciousness. So I'm going to read this treatment now. I now turn to the spirit within me. I know that it is close to me. It is what I am, and it governs my life in harmony and in peace. I know that through me, it brings me joy and happiness to everyone I meet. Through the power of this indwelling spirit, I am a blessing to myself and others. I am a blessing to myself and others. I lift up my whole mind to the realization that the Spirit of God is within me and that this perfect Spirit is my real self. I invite the Spirit to direct my thoughts and acts, and I accept that it is now doing so. I expect new ideas to stimulate my imagination and direct me into new ways of doing things. I expect new circumstances and situations. The action of the divine intelligence within me impels me to act for the greatest benefit of myself and others. And so it is.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Candy, for being the host today. Appreciate that. Real quick, let me introduce the band. And today's featured vocalist is no stranger to all of us. Gregory and I have been doing music for quite a while. You know? Now you think about it, we're getting older.
Not me.
It's been a good 10 years. Anyway, Gregory is an author. He's a songwriter. He's a performer. He's a speaker. He's a counselor. He's a minister. And he's one talented guy. So let's welcome Gregory Fisher.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks for doing that. And on drums today, Mr. Spencer Strand, along with Don Morgan on bass, Brian Wright on guitar, and joining us today is my friend Paul Nielsen on guitar. Thank you.
A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams you will lose your heartaches. Whatever you wish for, you keep. Have faith in your dreams, and someday your rainbow will come smiling through. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, that dream that you wish will come true.
Mr. Brian White.
Have faith in your dreams, and someday your rainbow will come shining through. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, that dream that you wish will come true. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true.
Melt my heart with that standard. Ah, Gregory. Opera, standards, jazz, pop. Is there anything this man cannot do? No country. Okay, no country. Okay, our wonderful speaker today is known in some circles as Papa Ray, though I believe he is a timeless youngster at heart. He is Ray Wiggins, and he started out with his BA in religion in Christian education at Scarrett College, which is now part of Scarrett Bennett. It's for those of us in Nashville. He's been a licensed Unity teacher since '95 and has had a wonderful ministry as a United Methodist minister, an associate minister, and youth director. And then he has had over 37 years with Unity as a minister, spiritual leader, and director of Youth of Unity. And he is currently a speaker. He's a wonderful spiritual counselor. He loves people. And he has now founded and is the director of Voice Hugs, a new way to stay in touch and hug in a time of social distancing. And Ray's topic today is Field of Dreams. Let's welcome Ray Wiggins.
Never underestimate the power of a dream. That was spoken by the three-time gold medal Olympic star Wilma Rudolph, who had lots to overcome to fulfill her dream to be in sports and to be successful. We know that every successful person finds their success based on an understanding, a clear purpose of a vision and of a dream. Whether it's a small business or a large business, they're putting the whole heart into it. The secret is that they dream big. They dream outside of what most of us dream, and they believe that they can achieve it. They use their imagination to see them having it, and then every day they do what they can do to move that dream forward. So today we're talking about Field of Dreams, and we know some people from Nashville a long time ago who are now extremely successful. Oprah Winfrey was on television here, and look where she is now with her own television station. Pat Sajak was the weatherman, I think at Channel 2. Look where he is. People who have a dream and are willing to allow it to happen, and understanding that it is their good will, their blessing to have it, are the ones that are leading the way for the rest of us that may have lost our dream. The actor Jim Carrey, back when he was, as they say, a poor artist, dreaming of being paid to act, actually wrote himself a check for $1 million, put it in his billfold to remind him that one day he will make at least that much just for one movie. Of course, he's gone way past that. Our forefathers, the people that founded this country, had a dream. And they dream of a democracy that all the people are being served and they are involved in serving themselves, to form a more perfect union. And right now with the election that we have, our issue is really about what is the American dream. And then Martin Luther King Jr., of course, his famous speech, "I have a dream." And he was able to spell it out because he could see in his own mind's eye his children being able to walk hand in hand with the white boys and girls. We discovered that the field of dreams is what each one of us decides is going to be. Today, what we're doing is looking at 3 things from the movie Field of Dreams, and I love movies. The voice is going to say to the man in the movie, how many of you have seen it? Have you seen the movie? I hope you did. I watched it again and again. And I have a prop. Let me grab it. I gave this talk many, many years ago at Unity, back when it met at Hillsborough High School. And they insisted I stand at the back to greet people, though I said, no, let me stay down here. You know, they could come to me. No, they expect you to be there. So I was shaking hands, I think about 200 people back then. And one lady hands me a baseball, this baseball. It has been with me over 10 different moves in my lifetime. Almost 40 years I've had this baseball. And I said, what in the world? Why would you have a baseball at church? She says, I carry it in my purse everywhere I go. I said, well, there's got to be a story behind that. She said, yes, I'll tell you back at coffee. So we met, and I had never met her, and I really didn't see her afterwards, and just learned recently that in August of this year, at age 81, she passed away. So I went back to coffee, and I said, okay, tell me about this. She said, well, growing up, the one thing my dad did with me that he did not do with the other children was to take me to baseball games. He loved baseball. And as he got elderly, we did that less and less, but he always talked to baseball and watched it and kept scorecards and all of that. And on his deathbed, he gives me this baseball. And I said, you're giving it to me? She said, yes. That's how much I enjoyed this movie. It teaches me to listen to my inner voice. It teaches me to make the decision to go forward every day to fulfill my dreams. And your talk brought that alive to me. So I said, you know, a baseball is more valuable if it's autographed. True? So she autographed it. And her name is Peggy Rushing. And the words that she wrote on this are just perfect for where I am right now. The third thing the voice says in the movie is go the distance. So she wrote, go the distance. Now, this has traveled, as I said, with me everywhere I moved. And it's always either been on my desk to remind me of that or on my bookcase. Never underestimate the power of a dream. You know, My intention today is to spark your dream if you've lost it, and rekindle it and bring it back up. Some of us have. Some of our lives have been greatly impacted by this pandemic, and we have lost our business, or we had to think of other things that we could do in our life to make a difference in the world. And though this is a tough time for us individually and as a nation, it is the land of all opportunity. This is the greatest thing that could possibly happen to us in terms of us going back to our original dream and hope for our country, our original dream and hope for us as a young person growing up. It's extremely important for us to recapture right now where this nation is and what we believe it's all about. So it's a grand time. It's the worst of times. It's the best of times. You know, back some time ago, when I was first watching the movie back in 1989, starring Kevin Costner, I was really taken away by the power and the metaphysical thought of what took place in this movie. It was nominated for 3 Academy Awards and has been selected by the Library of Congress. It's one of those films they want to set aside as being the most impactful film, one of the most impactful films in the history of this country. Now, in the movie, there's a story about this young man. He's a farmer. He has a young wife and a young baby, a young girl, about 7 or 8. And he's got a cornfield. And he's trying to make it as a farmer, but he's also trying to make it in life. He's disappointed with where he is, for one. He's frustrated over the fact that his father and he are not in good relationships. Even now that the father was deceased, he regrets the fact that he challenged him about his belief in Shoeless Joe, a baseball player and a group of others who were kicked out of baseball because they threw, or supposedly they threw, the World Series. And the man's name is Ray. Yeah. So Ray Gonzalez had an argument with his dad and accused Shoeless Joe of actually being a crook and having done that. So their lives had been estranged all those years. So he's in that situation, and he's out walking in his cornfield one day working on it, and he's startled to hear a voice that said, "If you build it, he will come." His wife was sitting on the porch, so he turned around and said, "Did you hear that, honey?" She said, "Oh, no, didn't hear anything." So he dismisses it, continues his work in the cornfield, and he hears it again. "If you build it, he will come." We learn as we go into the movie that his belief was that he was to take some of his corn and cut it down and build a baseball diamond. A baseball diamond in the middle of farm country, in the middle of Iowa. And that baseball diamond is still there today, with the hopes that Shoeless Joe, who was long deceased, would come back. What we understand is Shoeless Joe does come back eventually. Along with the other players that had been kicked out of the major leagues, they came back as well and played on that field. What we understand as we look at this from our point of view, metaphysically, is that he wasn't building a baseball field. He was building a field of dreams in consciousness. You know, back in the late 1800s, a group of people were beginning to trying to understand what is the ultimate reality. So we had people that were Ralph Waldo Emerson, others, the Fillmores, Mr. Holmes, Mary Baker Eddy, came up with the idea that the only thing that was lasting and real and unchanging is our thought, and that our thought is causative. Everything that we see in this room was first somebody's idea, a thought that came into manifestation. The concept that we understand here is the term metaphysics, meta meaning beyond, physics meaning the physical world. Beyond the physical world that we know is a greater world that actually is the cause of the physical world. Our thoughts, our ideas, our consciousness is what is creating our reality. You know, that is not a new thought, actually, even though we do call it new thought. Proverbs says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Jesus said to a person that he healed, "It is done to you according to your belief." Paul says to people, his disciples, he said, be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. So we understand that consciousness is causative. Consciousness is the dream that we live in. And we have our individual consciousness, but we also have a collective consciousness that we call race consciousness. Not red, black, white, or green race, but race consciousness. The human race also has a consciousness. So my belief is that in order for me to understand that I am creating the life that I'm experiencing, how do I do that? And if it's out of consciousness, how can I understand consciousness? So I had a little graphic here. I'm not sure you can see it or the cameras can catch it. But let me let you to imagine an iceberg. If you're looking at an iceberg at the level of the water, you say a tip. You see the beautiful top of the iceberg. But you can also see underneath the water, and you can see that it's massive. This iceberg is actually massive, but you're only seeing the top part of it. So the scholars who study the human mind said that we actually have 3 levels of mind, or 3 levels of consciousness. The one that's actually running our show is our subconscious, submerged underneath, or unconscious mind. It's that part of us that keeps our breathing automatic, so we don't have to think about. All the automatic functions of our life and our body is in that part. But also in the unconscious mind or subconscious mind are things that we have put there ourselves, that we have pushed down. And it's actually running our show. It's running our life. So think of it in terms of a computer. There's a database. There's a hard drive. That's what the subconscious mind is. And it will receive anything that we feed into it. So every thought, every word, every experience goes into that mind without the subconscious mind saying, oh, no, you can't do that. It will accept. So if we have fed into our unconscious mind that life is unfair, that people can't be trusted, that I am not worthy, the subconscious mind is playing that program. Now, the conscious mind is where you and I are right now. And again, on the graphic, you can see it. It's just a little bit above. The subconscious is huge. And then the conscious mind is our ego state. It's that state of you that is aware of what is going on right now. If you call the EMT to come help you with somebody who's been injured, one of the questions they will ask you is he conscious? And we find out if he's conscious by to say, what's your name? What day is it? Who am I? Where are we? It means that they are aware. We're aware that we're talking with, that we are here. We're aware that it's a Sunday. And that's the ego mind that is a very valuable part of us. I'm not one of those that thinks that we have to get rid of the ego. The ego's job is to protect this body system. So it's going to do everything it can to make sure that this is going to work fine. It's not the place we want to stay. So we don't want to be in the subconscious mind all the time because it's what's running the show. But we can change it by making a conscious, get the word, conscious effort to use our conscious ego mind to feed different data into the computer of the unconscious. We practice prayer, meditation, and affirmations in this teaching. That's one way that we can take that old thought out that is destructive and that is unhealthy and that is just acting out in our lives and in our health. Well, delete it and replace it. We know that the world hates a vacuum, so every time you move something out, you need to replace it. So if we get rid of an old thought, we substitute a new thought with it. But that's not the ultimate goal, because there's another level of consciousness that we also teach here, which is called divine mind or divine consciousness. For a Buddhist, it would be Buddha consciousness. For a Christian, it would be Christ consciousness. It's that level of consciousness that is higher than our normal human understanding of life. And it moves us into the arena of the divine. It's that part of us that is elevated and we're living on a higher order of being. So our opportunity is, and I believe what Ray did in his life, was that he did not listen to his subconscious mind. He did not listen to the race consciousness of everybody else saying, this is stupid. You're going to go broke. You're going to lose your farm. You know, he listened to a voice that was inside of him that gave him hope and gave him a dream that he could live out. So our conscious building is what is my priority in my life. And there is a practice. There's some tools that we can use. And those are meditation, because we want to disconnect from the subconscious mind but connect with the divine mind. And that requires us to get the chatter of our ego out of the way. We got to still the mind, we got to stop the thoughts and allow this other voice that he heard to come into our lives. Have you ever heard a voice? I did. A quick story. I worked for Unity World Headquarters, and I went out west to study under the Institute of Heart Math, or Heart Mathematics. Their theory is that it is our heart chakra that actually makes the decisions of our life, and there is where we need to be. It's not our mind, it's not our brain, it's our heart, and to go there. So during that week, my heart was opened up. I tell you what, I love those people, I love the teachings, and so flying back to Unity Village, Missouri, I had an idea. I'd been single for about 18 years, and I said, well, you know, God, maybe perhaps this might be the time that somebody should come into my life. But I don't want to have to do anything about it, you know. I don't want to join a dating club or anything. It's just, if it's meant to be, it's a song. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So I go back to the office on a Saturday, and my work had not gotten done, and so I look on my desk, and there's a bunch of curriculum from a lady who wanted us to consider publishing it. So I listened to the cassettes, I read the material, and noticed there was a videotape. Well, I had no way of playing a videotape in my office, so in this empty building, a very large office building, nobody was there. I was the only person. I go back to another office, I put the tape in, and I'm watching this beautiful red-headed gal with two children around her and telling them stories and singing songs. She called it Miss Flower's Story Garden. So I'm engaged in this, and I'm watching it, and all of a sudden I hear a voice so clearly that I actually turned around thinking somebody walked in. The voice says, "That's your wife." Oh. So I looked at the back of the cassette, and there was her phone number. So I called her. Make a long story short, I did wind up in Atlanta meeting her. We did publish some of her material, but one day on a walk in the woods, she lived close to the woods that took you down to the river. I got brave enough to tell her about the voice. And I said, well, you know, I was watching your video and I heard this voice that says, "You're my wife." And she said, "I know." So we had 6 wonderful years together, and she taught me to trust the voices, because she had her voices. She went off into the woods one day after we were married and came back and said, "We're supposed to move." I said, "What?" "We're supposed to move." I said, "How do you know that?" She said, "Well, I sat in the sunbeams and I asked questions, and the voice came to me, the inspiration came to me that we're to move." That's the way she lived her life. It opened me up to trusting the intuition that we have that adults tend to want us children to get rid of, the imagination that we have that they want us to get rid of, to do that. So the first thing that helps me to understand how the movie can generate energy for me to have my own dreams is to listen to the inner voice, the guidance. Be still, meditate, pray, ask questions, be open, brainstorm with yourself. So I turned 84 in December the 14th, and I've been doing ministry since I was 18, and I'm furloughed right now from my job. So this has been a very fertile time for me to do that very practice, become still, listen, take walks, invite the universe to tell me things. And out of that came my idea to give what we need and what we starve for most of anything, and that's human touch. And we know for lack of human touch, an infant will die. It will begin to die. The body will begin to shut down. It's called failure to thrive. We miss that. I miss hugging. I miss shaking hands. I miss being able to be with somebody. But instead of that, I can touch you with my voice. So I found a way that I can send out one recorded voice message to 10,000 people in one blurb. And I believe that's the direction I'm supposed to take. That's my dream for right now. And it's such a divine idea that I have no absolute doubt that it will not work. So if you build what? If you build the consciousness of a thing, you will have it. There's a scripture that disturbed me in the Bible, and Jesus is talking. He had just told the parable of the sower to his people, and they were confused. And he said something, and I said, "No, I don't like that." It says, "To him who has, even more will be given." And to him who has not, even that which he has will be taken away from and given to the one who has. I said, well, that sucks, you know. That seems to be happening in our society, you know, on some level. And then somebody much wiser than I said, well, he's not talking about stuff. He's talking about consciousness. We get what we get by right of consciousness. If I don't have the consciousness for it, I won't be able to attract it. They did studies. They followed people who won the lottery, and some won millions of dollars. But the large majority of the people that they studied and researched on who had won lotteries 5 years later were broke again. They did not have the consciousness of wealth. But there are people that have the consciousness of wealth. They know how to do it. It doesn't scare them to be broke. It doesn't scare them to go bankrupt. They have the consciousness of it. So we teach thoughts held in mind create after their kind. If we're holding thoughts of negativity and lack and limitation, that would be our experience. So building the consciousness is the first thing that we can do. So allow yourself to pray and meditate. Jot down ideas, brainstorm. Do a treasure map. When's the last time you did one of those? Put down a picture of what you want your life to look like 5 years or 10 years from now. This is a fertile opportunity for us to treat the pandemic like the Jews would treat the Sabbath. It's a holy moment. This is a holy moment to become still and quiet. So the Field of Dreams says we build consciousness and that he will come. Shoeless Joe did come, but ultimately what came back was his father in the form of a catcher. His father came back and was playing catch one day behind the plate until he began to recognize him. And initially, at first, they said nothing. He introduced his father to, his name is John, to his daughter and to his wife. And as he was beginning to leave, he called him back and he said, Dad, you want to play catch? That brings us to why this voice said the second thing. The second thing the voice said was heal his pain. He thought it was the pain of a famous writer back in the hippie days and the flower power days, that who had now gotten despondent and was living in isolation. But it turned out to be that it was his own pain. It's always about us, isn't it? It is us that we must heal. And in healing ourselves, we allow others to heal. And in that healing, we have an opportunity to have new life. And the last thing the voice said, what happened, had to do with, again, baseball. All these stories had to do with baseball. And the voice said, go the distance. Go the distance. Now, the old man who was a doctor who had died a long time ago had only had a chance to play 1/2 of an inning in the major leagues. He was playing in the minors. He was working himself up. His dream was to play in the major leagues. But the situation was that since they were losing, the coach put him in the last inning. And he had played in the field, but this was his first chance to really get up and bat and face a real major league pitcher. But the guy in front of him struck out, and the game was over. So that was a dream that he had a chance to come back and fulfill on the Field of Dreams, and he did. But he was a medical doctor and had chosen a lovely wife, a lovely small town, and had a wonderful career that he was not unthankful for at all. But Ray's little girl was on the bleachers, and she fell off. She had gotten sick or something, had fell on the ground. And so the doctor knew immediately what to do. So the young boy who was playing on the field, seeing the little girl, came rushing to her. But he comes to the foul line of the baseball diamond. He knows that if he steps across that foul line, he can't ever go back to fulfill his dream. But his heart steps across. And the young baseball player turns into the old doctor who takes the hot dog out of her throat and heals her pain too. Every successful entrepreneur knows that a dream is only part of it. What is required is commitment to follow through. I notice that people, I love to watch golf, and I watched Tiger Woods during the height of his career. And more often than not, when he was finished with a round, whether he won or not, he went back to the driving range. He went back to the putting green. I see people who do their businesses and they work all night. They're working a job in the daytime and they're studying at night. They've made the commitment to go the distance. So my friends, whether it's this church, whether it's my life or your life or our country, it comes to a place of understanding that everything is consciousness. And if we build a consciousness of peace, joy, and harmony and love for our world and in our lives, that will happen. If we ease our pain in the process of doing that and heal ourselves and others, it will happen. And then eventually, if we make that commitment to step across that line where you cannot turn back. Thinking about jumping out of an airplane for the first time, parachuting. You know, you can't go back halfway down, folks. That's once you're out, you're out. So God is calling us, I believe, to dream a new dream. I really, truly believe that all the things that we're going through as a civilization and as a world, look at the world. So chaotic. I mean, hurricanes, forest fires, earthquakes, floods, you name it. And then politically, look at all the drama we have there. That is a difficult time, but it is the land of all opportunities. That's a terra incognita, where we have a chance, sort of like the universe put us in the corner to think about our behavior, put us in the corner to think about our attitude, put us in the corner so that we can create a new dream. That's where you are today as a church. Who are we now? What does our future look like? How do we express ourselves in a pandemic world? I ask you to take just a moment and go inside with me as we close. Take a deep breath, whatever it does to help you to relax, and invite your mind to be quiet just for a moment and listen to the still small voice. That beautiful energy that is love that resides in you, as you, at all times. It knows the way home. It knows what it is that you are to be about. Not only what you do, but how you do it. Who you be, who you show up as in the process of doing it. If something doesn't come to you right now, continue the process of becoming still. And if something does come, I ask you to write it down. Begin to set the consciousness for it. Ease your pain around any issues related to it. And then commit yourself to move forward with your dream every single day. And the reason is because your dream is not to be taken lightly. It is able to move forward and create the world of your understanding and your hopes and your dreams. Henry David Thoreau said, I learned this at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary. New, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him, or the old laws will be expanded and interpreted in his favor in a more liberal sense, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Ray Wiggins. What a wonderful sermon. Now it's our time to give back to what serves us. Please make a contribution online or mail your check to our street address. You can also go to our website and make a contribution. When you make your offering, you're not offering to an outside thing to us. You are offering to yourself, making a statement of faith and generosity and service for the greater good, including your own good. Let us say this treatment together for our offering. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And together we say, and so it is. And now I'd like to introduce Lucia Coopersmith, who is going to give us a report from the board.
Thank you, Candy. And thank you, Ray. What a wonderful, wonderful lesson today. Thank you. Band, awesome as always. Gregory, Abby, thanks. You guys were awesome. So we have a few announcements today. The first one is an update on the board. We have 8 candidates who qualified for election to our Board of Trustees. They are me, Heidi Dixner, Sandra Rollins, Kate Prentice, David Arnholter, Tanya Miller, Marietta Carter, and Margaret Hayes. So we have a great group of people. You can vote online or in person at our annual meeting next Sunday, October 25th, after the service. Online ballots are going to go out to members this week by email. Please check your junk filter, because if you don't get an email, it means it went into a junk folder. Candidates will be making presentations on Zoom in 2 rounds. The first one is today at 2 p.m., and the second one is Tuesday at 6:30. The link is on the homepage of our website. So this evening's Wednesday evening service, Reverend Lynn's midweek soul refresh. If you haven't attended it, it's wonderful. It's an interactive meeting that focuses on a different subject every week. And this week's topic is, oh, I should have taken this off, shouldn't I have? No one gave me a sign to say take it off, so I forgot it was on. It's an interactive meeting. It focuses on a different subject every week. This week's topic is how we make choices that determine our life. And the Zoom service begins at 6:30. Login is found in the newsletter and on the website. There is a new credited course called Mental Equivalence that started on Thursday night and will continue for the next 4 Thursdays. It's a 5-week class. You can still sign up for single classes. 4 classes are left. The sign up is on the website. That is being taught by Reverend Lynn and David Arnholter. The reopening. We have started the process for reopening for those who feel safe attending. We probably have, in addition to the band and the technical people, we probably have 10 to 12 people here attending right now. We're practicing safe meeting. Obviously, we are wearing masks, and some of us even forget we have them on. We're taking temperatures. We're seated far apart from each other. So please join us if you'd care to. If you are itching to get together with a group of people from the community and enjoy a nice meal, the events team has put together an event. It will be COVID protected. It will take place at the Riverview Restaurant and Marina, which is located on the Cumberland River, has outdoor dining on the deck overlooking the river, plenty of outdoor space, reasonable pricing, and they're looking at Sunday, November 8th from 2 to 4 p.m., weather permitting, of course. And if you would like to RSVP by Saturday, October 29th, you can do so to Mary Lou Cohen. She's on the CSL and social events team. And her number and her email are all in the newsletter, so you can look at the newsletter for that information. And then we have an announcement about a team that has been renamed and the focus has shifted a little bit. It's the social media team, which is now formerly known as the social media team. It's now known as the communications and marketing team. So we've expanded the focus to look, social media will still be a very big part of that team's work. But we're looking beyond it and looking at not just communicating to our members with what's going on within our community, but also looking at our messaging and our marketing so that we can really attract people who want to explore our teaching more to join us. So if you'd like more information about that, if you'd like to sign up, that is also in the newsletter. I am the interim team lead on that, and you'll have my email in the newsletter that you can email me and let me know. An announcement about next Sunday, Dr. Reverend Dr. Mitch Johnson will be our featured speaker next Sunday. So I can hear all the voices in Zoom land and YouTube land, joyously celebrating right now. So Reverend Mitch will be with us next week. Please continue to tithe with your love offerings. And there is one more announcement that I'm actually going to turn it over to Etta Carter for. It's regarding the outreach team and an event that they have coordinated. So I'm turning it over to Etta.
Thank you, Lucia. As you heard, Lucia just mentioned about a lot of teams that are meeting. And a few months ago, teams came back together. A lot of teams started up. And if you haven't found a home in a team, contact Kate Prentice. She can be reached at info@cslnashville.org. It's a wonderful opportunity to not only help build this center, but I believe it will help you build a stronger connection to this wonderful center. As Papa Ray just talked about, us inviting us to dream a new dream. That's what we're doing right now, and I invite you to participate and find a team that you will feel comfortable helping with. But right now, I'm a part of the outreach team, and about 7 months ago, you may recall Nashville was really devastated by the tornadoes, and there's still a lot of work to be done. And so we have decided that we're joining Hands on Nashville and Nashville Tree Foundation to plant trees in the neighborhoods that were affected by the tornadoes. So we're going to have a volunteer family-friendly tree planting event. This is going to happen on November the 14th from 9 to 12. We'll be planting trees at Fisk Park and in North Nashville. Amy Stevens is coordinating some of this event, and if y'all don't know anything, Hands on Nashville, Amy Stevens, they kind of go hand in hand. You can contact Amy at amy-stevens, that's STEPHENS, at comcast.net. You'll also find the information on this event at our newsletter. So please reach out to Amy, because we need to know who's going to volunteer, who wants to help out, who wants to be a part of our team. We welcome all up from age 6 and above. Anyway, thank you for your time. And now I'm turning this over to Candy.
Sounds like a lot of exciting things are happening. I'm going to do a close that we normally do with a voiceover, but we're going to end up doing a close. Then I'm going to give a closing treatment, and then we'll hear some more music from our special guest. Okay.
canción de mi corazón. Su mensaje que cierra en sus salmos impreso dejar. El milagro de amor que no habrá de cambio, Él me dio salvación eterna. Es como la canción que yo siento aquí en mi corazón. Cantaré yo por siempre y siempre la canción de mi corazón. Su mensaje que cierre en sus salmos impreso dejar. El milagro de amor que no habrá de cambio, Él me dio salvación eterna. La canción de mi Dios es el ciento, aquí en mi
Gregory Fisher.